everyone, Seth here. I wanted to talk about a deck today, Shivamon. It's a deck that, while it's not tier 1, I've been having a lot of fun with it in this format. I actually recently took this deck to second place in the most recent Mario's Gaming Circuit, and it's a really budget deck compared to a lot of the stuff going around this format, and so I wanted to share it because I think it's really cool and good. Or not good, but, interesting. So first up for the eggs, we've got 2 BBmon and 3 Argomon. Normally I would be on a 4-1 split, but I don't have a 4th Argomon right now. It's actually in the mail. BBmon is fine though. It helps you contest the DP of 13,000 Digimon, which there's a couple prominent bosses right now that do that. Mastamon, Imperial. So it allows you to keep up with your opponent's boards while having your Digimon suspended. Next up for the rookies, we are on 4 copies of Pulsemon, 4 copies of Starter Deck Palmon, 4 copies of Memory Blocker Terriermon, and 2 copies of Ikakimon. So, Pulsemon being the rookie from the new set, inherited effect, plus 1k for each of your other suspended Digimon. This allows you to, again, just keep a big boss monster on all turns. Usually your Shiva is a 12k natively, so this allows you to a lot of the times push him to 13, 14k, beat over level 6s and sometimes level 7s. I've actually had a Shivamon crash over a Susanomon and live one time this format. It's a little rare, but it happens. Starter Deck Palmon, inherited effect when it gets plus 2k when it attacks an opponent's Digimon. This is a really good inherited right now, just given that you don't really need to swing security in this deck a lot of the time. It's just best to keep unsuspending and eating your opponent's memory, or not memory, their security, and this allows you to, again, just be bigger than your opponent's Digimon. Memory Blocker Terriermon is pretty good this format. There's a lot of Digimon with inheritable gain of memory. There's a lot of memory boosts running around, and so while Tamers are better than ever at gaining extra memory right now, Terriermon helps you control the other memory gains they've got. And then 2 Ikakimon. The reason I'm on 2 of the vanilla 2 cost 3Ks is because they are the most effective way to suspend your opponent's Digimon a lot of the time. You can play our 1 cost option that suspends our guy to suspend theirs, or you can just use it for a quick HPD. And so these are really just think of it as like a 2 cost extra suspend for your board is the best way to think of it. Then that's it for the rookies. Moving on to the champions, we have 4 copies of Exermon, 3 copies of Namakimon, 2 copies of Kogamon, and 2 copies of Arbormon. So Exermon is very similar to Pulsemon. It has the inherited plus 1k for each suspended Digimon, and it's on Digivolve. You can suspend one of your Digimon to suspend your opponent's. This is really good. It lets you set up your own board suspension-wise. It lets you suspend one of your opponent's Digimon for on a body, which is really nice. And the inherited is really useful for your Shivamons. Namakimon is a card that when I first tried with it, I really, really didn't like it. But the more that I've played with it, the more that I've felt that it's pulled its weight. During your main phase, you can suspend it to look at the top 3 and add a green Digimon to hand, so it's like the search of a memory boost. The thing that I like the most about it is it's only a 4 cost, so even if you like Brick, you have a mildly better than a lot of bricked hands. You've got a 4 you can just play. It has utility on the pass back, and it can suspend itself. So while it's a 4 cost 3k, which kind of sucks, you can get by with it. Kogamon. These 2 are the ratios that I've been flipping around with the most in the 4s. I was on 3 Koga and 1 Arbor during the event, but I switched back to 2 and 2 after. Retail on your Shivamon is really nice, but a lot of the times, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but your opponent will occasionally find outs and then it just does nothing, and there were a lot of times where a Arbormon could have closed the game, but because I went to 3 Kogas, I didn't have it. So I switched back to 2 Arbormons, because there's a lot of times where, you're in green, you're eating all your eggs pretty quickly, and so it allows you to just have extra utility for your Mimis. Then, moving on to the level 5s, we have a pretty standard lineup. 4 copies of Blossomon, 1 copy of Argomon level 5, and 3 copies of Climbon. So the Digizorbers are obvious, includes, suspend your own Digimon to get free Digivolves. Argomon is limited. I honestly feel like at this point it could probably be unlimited. It sucks. It would be weird to have like 2 copies of essentially the same Digimon in the deck, but green has been the worst color for a hot minute now, and while that changes in BT9, it's for a different deck. But yeah, free Digivolves. Suspend your Digimon for free. Obvious includes Climbon is a new Digimon that I've been on and off about. It is hypothetically removal on Digivolve if it's already suspended. You can bounce one of your opponent's suspended Digimon with less or equal DP. While this is on top of like a Pulsemon or an Exermon, you can easily bounce back like up to a 10k. But a lot of the times this just isn't proccing because and it's a 3-cost Digivolve, so you're passing turn on this Digivolve a lot. Inherited effect, when it unsuspends during your unsuspend phase, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon is easily the best part of the card because it allows you to set up board clears with your level 6s. But this has been a card that I keep looking at this card and wanting it to be something else, but it is removal, which green sorely needs. Maybe try Pistmons in this slot instead, but I was not impressed by Pistmon either. Next up is the level 6s, the meat of the deck. We're on 4 copies of Shivamon and 3 copies of Nidhoggmon. Shivamon, obviously namesake of the deck. While your whole board's suspended, they can't use options. When you unsuspend it, you rip the top card of security. It's a 12k. This deck got a lot weaker than it was in the Japanese format because we've got, limited Ice Wall, limited Reinforce Boost, banned Mega Fusion. But it's still, a lot of the times, your opponents want to use, Violet Memory Boost. They want to use Mega Death on your board. They want to use Hell Scythe. They want to use Dead or Alive, etc. And you lock them out of it. And a lot of the time, because of the inheritables you're giving it off of, like, Pulsemon and Exermon, they can't beat over it, so they have to kill it with, like, Digimon on-player Digivolve effects. Unfortunately, there's a lot of really good ones in the format right now. Imperialmon, Suspend and Bottom, D-Digivolve and Black War Greymon. The on-play effect of Lucemon means that most meta decks have an out to Shivamon. It's just an inconvenient one. And then, of course, 3 Nidhoggmon, the heart and soul of green, best green boss monster we've ever gotten, and will probably continue to be for most of the time until they stop making green cards bad. It's a board wipe, free and easy. And with the, I should point out, with the theme of this deck being suspending your board and your opponent's, it is very easy to set up a Nidhoggmon nowadays. You can Exermon, tap their guy, you can Santi, suspend your guy, suspend theirs, and it is criminally easy to put your opponent's big guys that you would normally have to hope they swung with just under the deck. Next up, for the Tamers, we are on 3 Mimi and 1 Digimon Emperor. During the event, this was a level 6 Argomon. I was trying to tech that against Yellow Hybrid. It did not work out. Rapidmon walks over a Argomon level 6 like nothing. So I wanted to try this instead because if they, even with like a TK and a Cody, they go up to 4, they raise Patamon, they go down to 2, they Digivolve into Rapidmon, they have to pass turn off of that, and so they don't get to swing over whatever they reduce the DP on. So while they're clearing a lot of your rookies and your champions, they are not walking over your level 6s in the same turn. It's been okay so far. I don't know if I would run a second one, but it's been interesting. And of course, Mimi, just best green tamer, sets your memory, gives you extra egg economy. It's just too good. And then for the options, we are on 4 copies of Samadhi Santi, the 1 of Hidden Potential, and 1 green memory boost. Force Aunties is, I think, a must-play in the deck. It's easily, like, in my opinion, the strongest green card out of BT8. The fact that you can keep your opponent from unsuspending the Digimon even by card effects is nuts. Imperial Dramon has to Jogress out of that stun, and it's 1 memory. So, like, this is up there with Thunder Laser in, like, maximum efficiency for suspending. Hidden Potential, obviously, if a card is limited, your deck should probably be running it. A free Nidhoggmon or a free Shivamon is, like, really easy. Plus, you know, again, it suspends your guy for a free Digivolve. It's basically another Argamon or Blossomon. And then the 1 memory boost, I was on 2 of this during the event. I would probably switch back, or I switched back to 1 because I was whiffing a lot of Digimon searches off of just having options and Tamers. So I switched this back into a... I believe I switched this back into a level 6. That's what it was. And it's been working out a lot better. Because you're only on 3 memory setting Tamers, you don't have a lot of ways to stop yourself from getting choked. This helps with that. And that's the list. I would definitely say that the deck is flexible for level 6 slots. I've seen a lot of people playing this in the in like a hybrid package because Shiva is an insectoid, so you can Digivolve into it off of Rhino Kabuterimon. I'm just not a fan of how bricky green hybrid tends to be. But in totality, I think that it is a very fun deck. It's very cheap. I believe that, like, without alt arts or promos, it's like under $90, which when Yellow Hybrid's sporting around $250, that's like not a lot to ask. And yeah, thanks for watching the video. Like I said, I don't think this deck is tier 1 by any means. It relies a lot on knowing the matchups really well and sometimes on your opponent's not doing great. I tied Yellow Rapidmon in the event, and I admittedly probably would have lost that match if we didn't go to time. But the deck's a lot of fun. It's cheap compared to most stuff in the format, and it's pretty easy to learn, I think. While there's a lot of knowing what to suspend, a lot of the time you can just like get in reps and figure it out. You don't have to like look up how to play the deck. If you want to see anything else that I do, me and my buddy Matt started a podcast called The Digidunces, and we talk about the metagame, market watch, the differences between the English and Japanese meta, because this is the format where that like really affects the decks we're playing. Jessmon, for example, was a deck in BT8 in Japan that doesn't exist anymore here. So yeah, check it out, and I'll see you next time.